This is the new Alfa Romeo Tonale, a car that the brand says is supposed to act as a cure to all of those new boring transactional computers with four wheels. This one, Alfa Romeo tells me, purposely dials down the computing power and dials up the driver engagement. And this one, the plug-in hybrid one, is the performance version. It'll lead a two-car pack when the Tonale arrives in Australia in Q2 next year. And along with the just launched Junior, it's supposed to act as a bit of a brand resurgence for Alfa Romeo down under. Well, that's the plan anyway. So let's put this one to the test and see how it measures up.
In terms of price and specification, Alfa Romeo in Australia is yet to go into too much detail. Internationally, the range steps from the Tonale to the Sprint and then the TI and the Veloce, with a special edition, the Tonale Sport Speciale, offered at launch. We won't get all of them in Australia, but we should at least get both engine options. The flagship is the one we've tested here, which is the plug-in hybrid, pairing a 1.3 litre turbo petrol with a rear-mounted electric motor to deliver 198 kilowatts. The range-opening model scores a turbocharged 1.5 litre petrol with mild hybrid assistance, delivering 128 kilowatts.
So Alfa Romeo has taken to calling this a strong facelift rather than like an all-new model. In fact, it's an update to a car that launched about 4 years ago, but there have been some changes to the outside design, namely this front end and grille. That's new, the badge is new, the colours are new. There's a yellow, a red and a green that join the expanded palette. New alloy wheel designs, it rides on a wider track, it looks a bit lower and more aggressive, and you can now wear the key if you want to. This is like a waterproof wearable key. It says you're having it in your pocket if you're going for a run or a swim or anything like that. In the cabin, there have been some changes as well. This is the boring black leather trim, but there is also a red leather trim and a really nice black and white Alcantara trim. I actually think that one is the pick of the bunch. Up the front, the old gear shift selector has now been changed to a rotary dial, but really we're not talking wholesale changes in the cabin elsewhere. The reason I wanted to show you this back seat though is, yes, this is a small SUV, but I'm sitting behind my own driving position, and as you can see, I've actually got really more than enough knee room. Headroom is a little tight. I'm 175 centimeters, so if you're much taller than me, you might have some issues, but actually the legroom really isn't too bad. Mind you, you wouldn't want to have 3 adults across the back, but then that's small SUV life, isn't it? Elsewhere, you get air vents, but no temperature controls, and you get USB-C and USB-A charge points. Now, one major drawback here, in my opinion, though, is the fact that this is the top spec Alfa Romeo, and it looks beautiful from the outside and looks nice on the inside as well. But when you really scratch below the surface, there are some cheaper plasticky feeling materials, both in the door trims back and front, but also that new look front grille. If you start knocking on it, feels a bit plasticky and flimsy too. So it looks beautiful, but some of the material choices aren't perfect in my opinion. So driver's seat, one of the things that Alfa Romeo says it really tried to improve with this facelifted Tonale, especially this plug-in hybrid variant, is the switch between electric power and petrol power and back again, whether you're using one, the other, or both. They wanted to feel fairly seamless and unobtrusive. And I gotta say, it does. I mean, we've driven it on the freeway pretty extensively on the way out here and on some of these twisty roads, and you really can't tell which powertrain it's using, other than the fact that there is plenty of power on offer. It's still kind of weird to wrap your head around the fact that, especially with Alfa Romeo, that the heaviest electrified version is the performance variant, but there's no denying the punch they can produce from the dual powertrain. This thing does actually feel quite potent for a small SUV. Now, it also feels quite dynamic. I've got to be honest, we haven't put it through the most comprehensive test here, especially because we're driving on the wrong side of the road in Italy. We're all a bit jet lagged and tired, and so we're taking it probably easier than we would in Australia. I like the steering too. It feels super light. Even if it's sportiest setting, it doesn't add lots of weight to the steering, which I actually kind of like. Honestly, when you add heaps of weight to steering, it ends up just feeling quite dead and lifeless, but this stays pretty light and reactive. Equally, it's an all-pull car. There's very little in the way of understeer or body roll, even when you're sort of pushing a little bit around these tighter corners. Yeah, it all feels pretty sharp. But the question is, I guess the problem that Alfa Romeo has always had is that they can definitely build a dynamically engaging vehicle. But the question is that what the Australian buyer prioritizes? Well, I guess we'll find out in Q2 next year. But let's be honest, the issue with Alfa Romeo is very rarely their driving dynamics. I like the way this one steers. I like the way the Giulia and the Stelvio steer. The issue they've always had is this perceived reliability, and that, the brand says, is something that has been a key focus of this car. In fact, rather boldly, they say that based on analysing warranty claims, this one is actually of a higher quality than its German rivals, i.e. BMW, Mercedes and Audi. Now, I'm sure the German brands might have something to say about that too, but it does go to show that there has been a sort of focus on that ongoing reliability of the Alfa Romeo brand. So there are a couple of oddities as well. The screen seems impossibly complicated and hard to figure out. I still don't know how to tell you how much fuel use I've been using. That's a mystery that I'm sure will become clear at some point in the future. And also there's this weird like wind noise next to my left ear at freeway speed. It's almost as though there's like a crack in the window, which there isn't, but you can really hear the wind whistling through the cabin. I can hear the wind right now. That's at 60 kilometers an hour. You can start to hear the wind whistling through that window. I really don't know what that is. It's bizarre. I've found the safety systems fairly unobtrusive as well, although obviously the speed alert does ding unnecessarily, as it does in almost every new car today, to be honest. Now, apart from that, I have been pretty impressed with the way this drives. It does feel kind of engaged and engaging, not something that is all that common in a car in this segment. And the dual powertrain is certainly plenty potent, but it also doesn't feel heavy or slow or sluggish. It feels pretty sharp. But this is the critical caveat. This is, of course, just a taste test of this vehicle. We don't know what it'll cost in Australia. We don't know what the specs are like in Australia, and we don't know how it performs in Australian conditions. So for the full review, the full detail, you'll have to wait till we get behind the wheel in Australia in Q2 next year. But as a taste test, I gotta say the signs look pretty good.